Rock the Casbah.
Oh, that was weird. I was like, what sound is that? Bosley must obsess over now. All right, well, now we're off to a good opening. Welcome to No BS with Scott and Jeff.
No BS. I'm pretty sure it's
that's the
complete BS.
Wrong podcast. Oh, wah.
Wah,
Whiskey
wah,
and BS
wah.
with Scott and Jeff.
Whiskey and BS.
Sorry, I'm trying to get my
You gotta get your
my
burner
track
going.
phone going so I could use it as a stopwatch. All right, well, yeah, this is Whiskey and BS, and today we are having soju. So I guess Korean whiskey, I guess technically.
Yes.
I don't know. So
Wait.
I had soju in Korea, and this was made in Finger Lakes Distilling, Burdett, New York. So
Well,
I
that's
guess,
pretty Korean.
Yeah. Shut up. Scott's never had soju, and I never had this kind. Sorry,
It's all good.
I was ambitious.
Oh, this is
You like
exciting.
this is my way to be fit. I have now had 4 ounces of whiskey.
Oh,
I have
you
a-
marked the whiskey
I did.
glass.
So I can write that down.
Keeping it real. Okay.
All right, so cheers to
All right.
episode. I don't know. God, I hope this is good.
4?
Oh, that's how I remember it. Isn't it?
Oh, that is delightful.
Isn't it dangerous though?
Yeah.
You think you just drink
It's
juice
too
water.
easy to drink.
Yeah, it tastes like grapes.
It's like kind of vaguely a white winey flavor,
Yeah,
but like
it's
really diluted white
Highly
wine.
dangerous. But time is up.
I don't know what kind of timer you set. I'll just run one here. I got it. I have an iPhone. I can put a
23%.
stopwatch on.
Oh, that's why, 'cause it's beer basically. Wait, no, beer's 8%.
No. Yeah, what are you talking about?
It's like not what Jack Daniels is 80.
Well, that's
60?
80 proof, so that's like 40% alcohol by
Oh, so this is 40. Oh, this is normal.
Yeah, that's about right.
About normal for stuff. I was like, well, no wonder it doesn't hurt. Weird. Oh, it says from grapes. All right, well, that's welcome to whiskey talk. Welcome to soju talk with Scott and Jeff. People that don't know
talk.
anything about soju.
Whiskey and BS, we just told you a little bit about soju. Congratulations. But hey, we do drink something different every
Yes,
time.
that is we make it a point. We normally go to our guaranteed. Have you ever had there's Glenfiddich and Glenlivet?
Oh, yes.
Aren't they both
I've
not
had
good? Unless you like
I've
high
had
end.
them all. They're so good.
They're so good.
I have a Glenlivet right now at home.
I saw that in a picture.
Celebratory bottle.
Ooh.
Oh, baby. That was a good shit.
Right, what's new with you?
Well, what's new with me? Let's see. I shaved my mustache since
For those,
since
yeah,
the
you
last
can't see it on the
podcast.
podcast, so
That's okay.
he doesn't look like an 1800s bank teller anymore.
Yeah, I don't. But I got a lot of compliments about that mustache. I'm not trying to be like, full of myself. Usually I'm the one
did
going
look
like,
good.
don't compliment me. Like, I don't believe you. Go to hell. But too many people mentioned the mustache, and we're really delighted by it. Even I teach, and my students today were like really bummed that I shaved it because I had to.
I was going to say, when you were telling me that before we started recording, Scott works with the young minds of America. God help us.
God help us all. Right?
God help them, and God help you. And so obviously when you're an actor in the entertainment world in some way, shape, or form, there's going to be periods of time where you look interesting. Anybody that's been following me for the last couple weeks, I've had to sport some pretty heinous looking truck driver pedophile mustaches.
It's great though.
Yeah, and one will definitely be worth it. But unless I'm very fortunate in poor Izzy, anybody that's been following me also, Izzy's in the background just like looking pitiful.
She's very upset.
Lay down. Down.
You're gonna ruin all of your energy. You gotta save it.
All the calories you have.
You need to heal.
And poop.
Yeah. Well,
Narcotics are keeping it from pooping.
well, that's not what you do.
Speaking of mustaches. But anyway, back when I was in college theater and I was a phlebotomist at the hospital. So the guy that you had to like in emergency rooms, they take the blood, and the person was in an emergency. They probably didn't pay much attention. But if you're in the hospital, anyway, it's been hospitalized. If you're there for more than one day, that person maybe comes and takes your blood 2 or 3 times a day. And age, race, gender, irrelevant. So I was playing the dentist in Little Shop of Horrors. And I had sideburns I'd grown out like from the sideburn area down to like the point of my cheekbone. And then a wicked Fu Manchu that went down here. And then this creepy pointy soul patch. I looked like and this is when I had hair. I looked like a WWF wrestler. And in this character on stage, it looked awesome. walking around in scrubs taking people's blood in the hospital, and in small town Idaho, terrifying. So like every time I went to the it's called the peds floor, and I was going to extend it for the non-medical speakers, and the first thing I was going to say was the pedophile floor.
No.
Pediatrics floor.
Pediatrics floor.
I mean, technically, depending on who you are, the kids were terrified, rightfully so. They're like, "Why is the devil coming in to draw my blood?"
Why is the devil coming in to draw my blood?
And it was so heartbreaking because, like, just like a little girl looking up at you, like, so sad. You're like, I know I look terrifying, and now I'm also going to stick a needle in you. So that's that. So Scott shaves his mustache.
I shaved my mustache. Yeah. I got a weird amount of compliments on the mustache over the last couple of weeks, and a bartender bought me a drink because of my mustache. That was...
Did he like you, or did he like the mustache?
No, she liked the mustache very much. And
that would be hard to shave now after that.
Yeah, I mean, but I did, so whatever. But it is what it is. I had to shave it because I got a part that in a short, and they wanted me to shave it. So
yes, it is a unique look, and I don't know what you think, but it's weird because like people that sport it pull it off, and you pulled off that style, and I joke calling it the 1800s banker mustache, but you know what I mean. That had that shape.
Yeah,
like it had like that. Yeah, like where's my bag of gold with like the dollar sign on it?
See, and that's intentional. Like,
okay, yeah, and see that you had that look. Like if you did like what I had like 2 weeks ago, the Magnum PI mustache, and then a couple weeks after that, the handlebar one.
Yeah.
It would just be fucking. It would look bad on me, and it would look bad on you.
That's true.
But you made one that was modernistically stylized and time appropriate. But it's still a goddamn mustache. That's the one thing with me. I don't care. Like I'm not saying, I say this blanket, not just you. I can't. It's hard to support the mustache. So when I do, I'm like, okay, if I was to support one, yours I supported.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
The most non-committal support ever.
See, I always liked the kind of only slightly twirled in mustache. It's got
now,
that,
do you find
that
because
1800s
exactly.
and or 20s feel.
Exactly.
You know, so it works.
Where's my Tommy gun? See, where do you? Now, my first instinct is it because I'm from small town Idaho or Colorado or whatever.
Yeah.
Is it? Am I kind of disillusioned as to who I picture only guys in Silver Lake having mustaches? Is that just me as an outsider looking in, or did they screw it up?
I think.
You know what I mean?
I think the hipster thing both works and doesn't for the mustache. It really depends on the person, but
yeah.
I've also seen some guys who I know could wear probably a way better mustache, sporting a real thin, pencil thin mustache, and I'm like, why?
Well, yeah, that could be the
why
same
would
for
you
beards.
do that?
You know,
yeah,
I'm never
exactly.
going to do the crazy unless told to the wicked beard, but I normally have a beard, and it's like, well, I did it before as a fad. I did it because I just was tired of shaving.
Yeah.
And then say with the mustache, I just chose to do it, but then because it became some sort of trend. Anyway, we went to a museum yesterday.
We did actually. Yeah, that's right. We went to the Hollywood Museum, which I had actually never been to before.
Yeah, that was actually part of the thing I wanted to bring up. Is it's kind of a sad sign of our times, where, and I said this I think to Pauline in the lift on the way back, that we want TV, we want media, we want DVDs, Blu-rays, and Netflix and all that. Where it was a Sunday on a relatively Hollywood Boulevard was packed.
Yeah.
But it was a Sunday on Hollywood Boulevard, which was 40 feet away from this museum, and there's hardly anybody in the museum. And it's an interesting sign of the times.
I'm wondering really is.
I'm reading into it way dramatically, or I don't know. It sucks. It was a museum.
Yeah.
It was a Hollywood museum. It's not like we're saying, hey, go look at the La Brea tar pits while you're visiting Hollywood. Those aren't correlated. But it was a Hollywood museum. It was badass. So anybody that's in LA, go to the Hollywood Museum next to Mel's on the corner of Hollywood Boulevard and Highland, I think.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah, and I mean, it had everything. It had modern stuff. I was blown away. Like it had everything from Mad Men.
Yep.
To something that just Orange is the New Black. I saw a thing from
Black,
there,
and then Resident Evil, Underworld movies.
We went there originally because there's the Batman '66, which is actually not of Scott and I's generation, but that was a huge exhibit they built.
Yeah,
so
it's really cool too. You get to see all the costumes. We were both like kind of geeking out over just because movies. But they had like call sheets and scripts.
And, it was really, it was surreal to see a handwritten, this is so pompous, but for those who don't know what a call sheet is basically in TV and films, it's a schedule for the next day. So it's like who's coming in for the call for the shoot. There are handwritten ones that said Adam West, and like for Batman. And the way it works is the lead of the movie is number one is in the sequence. And it's cool to see Adam West, hyphen Batman, hyphen, 8 a.m. makeup. It was all handwritten and it was cool. It just blows my mind. Nobody was at the museum. It was kind of depressing.
Nostalgia crazy.
Have you been to the other museums here? Like isn't the LA County Museum?
LA County Museum that's a big thing. That one's pretty great.
Never been there.
Been a lot of exhibits that are fun, and it looks kind of a lot like the Museum of Natural History.
Okay.
A bit.
Okay. Never been there.
In New York.
Huh.
Like, well, not the whole thing.
Yeah,
like that museum is kind of way better, but they have some similar exhibits though that I thought were really cool, and they got like they did the animals and everything of all the different regions and like, stuff like that.
I need to go.
It's really cool. They got a cool dinosaur exhibit too. A lot of bones. A lot of bones.
Well, is that the one? Is there a? I can't think of the intersection it's on. Isn't it like a weird red and white building? Have they been remodeling it, or is that another one?
That's a different one. I
think
that's
it is a different one. The LA County Museum has all those light posts that everybody gets their picture taken in front of.
Yeah.
Okay. The one I'm also thinking of, I think it's like isn't it an automobile museum?
Yeah, I think that is the automobile.
Jeez.
That's the red and silver one.
I'm proof positive of the dying interest in museums in a city of which I live closely in.
I've been to a lot of them. I had just never been to the Hollywood Museum, and that one was really fun to go to. I wanted to see the Batman '66 exhibit when I first heard about it. As these things go, you just don't find the time to do it. You never end up doing it. So
yeah, that's actually what Pauline and I were talking on our podcast. Is like we all say, I'm guilty of it too. You're actually better at it than me. Like actually going to do something, And it's stupid when you live in like a big city. Like my excuse, like when I lived in Colorado, was like there's nothing to do, without driving. I mean, if you live in a suburban or a big urban city of LA, New York, or anything that you just open up the Yellow Pages, which don't exist, and just go, hey, I'm going to go here and do it every weekend and see something, and we don't do it often enough. It's retarded. I'm going to get in trouble for saying that. I apologize.
It's uncouth.
It's uncouth. It's a generational term. I do not mean derogatorily.
Actually, it wouldn't even be uncouth. It's just like it's just dumb.
Yeah, it's just a sad state of affairs.
Yeah.
It's just dumb.
It's just socially irresponsible, okay?
You know what I thought of yesterday? Somehow, I don't know what I was doing, but I was reminded of Beavis and Butthead.
Oh.
What a weird cultural spat that was. And not only that, I was thinking of what the Beavis and Butthead show did. This is kind of a weird throw, I guess, to the museum in Hollywood. But you would watch Beavis and Butthead, and they would do a Mystery Science Theater style, 3000 style commentary over music videos.
Yeah.
Those don't exist anymore. Like how things have changed over like the fact that music videos don't exist. I haven't watched MTV for years. Yet they still make them. I still see auditions for music videos.
Well, they still make them, and they go on YouTube now. Basically,
they're Vimeo.
And I think they go on some. Well, like MTV and VH1. I don't even know if VH1's a channel anymore, but whatever.
It might be like
I know they don't really show music videos anymore, but they have their sub channels that do.
Jesus.
There's MTV like 2 and 3 and 4, MTV
Ocho.
Max, VH1 Classic, VH1 Spoons. I don't know. VH1's put a banana to your ear and pretend like you're talking on the phone.
Jesus. All right. On that note. Oh, God! Look how high she is. Can you see her eyes?
Oh yeah.
It just breaks my heart. Izzy, in the day, morning and night, she gets like a painkiller, so a little narcotic there, and an actual kind of like a pseudo tranquilizer. because dogs have no sense of self-preservation, so you kind of have to give it to them. And then midday she gets an anxiety thing for the same reason, because she's a jacked up, coked out dog.
Yeah.
That she has to be kind of. Oh, this breaks my heart. Like, she'll keep the red in her eyes right now. Oh, it's good pod. This is good. This is good radio, right?
It's great radio. This is great radio.
Sorry.
We're killing it.
Poor heart.
What's going on? What's going on otherwise, like career-wise for you, good sir?
Oh yeah, we'll do career talk.
What's new? What's on the horizon?
I have been backstabbed by what I thought was a good friend. I won't go into details, but it's interesting what this industry brings out in people.
You told me about that.
Yeah.
Again, can't go into details, but suffice to say,
yeah,
there are certain things you just don't do.
Yeah.
One of them being, message a potentially interested producer and respond in, let's say, hostily passionate tirade.
Yeah, that's good.
About how his opinions.
Yeah, mind you, opinions.
/ suggestions.
Yes.
Which that's all they were.
We live in a subjective...
Where they could put it, basically.
We live in a very subjective industry, which, being slightly hypocritical, where I'll get frustrated as... We've covered this almost every time. Actor Jeff is like, oh, they cast Tom Cruise as a tall character. But, it makes the studios money.
Yeah.
So, boo-hoo. But it's still... Technically, it's a subjective... Or it's funny, because it's a subjective industry, yet still based on money. And this guy wasn't like saying like, oh, the world's flat and 2 + 2 is 5. This guy's just like, in my opinion, it's this, and it didn't go well. But that's so that was an interesting revelation. Right now,
a significant bummer.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even bummer, and just like, no shit, didn't see that coming. Right now, kind of drab. I got a lot of stuff coming out. I'm looking at a whiteboard, but nothing on the to-do list yet. The handlebar mustache job will be goddamn huge.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe here's a riddle for y'all. I told you what it was. Yeah. Okay.
You did.
You at some point, the listener, will be possibly sitting on my face. Do you get it?
I got it.
Like a bus bench.
Yeah, I got it.
So stay tuned for that. And that's actually not a joke at the sake of just trying to be gross. It's more or less literally true.
Yeah, yeah.
Literally in a symbolistic way.
Yeah, he can't tell you.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you either.
Yeah, like this, I actually didn't know what this job was until I accidentally saw a Post-it note saying what the job was while we were getting our costumes. So I still didn't know even after I signed all the paperwork. It was like Blue Harvest Star Wars level secret, but...
I have also signed paperwork.
Really?
No.
Oh. So what's one audition coming up?
No, I was just trying to cover...
Yeah, technically, yeah.
But that's ruined now, so...
Fuck. Yeah, my bad.
It's okay. I might have an NDA in my bag.
Scott doesn't know, technically. I don't think I ever said it. But yeah, so that...
Oh, loophole.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, this is one thing. Scott and I are trying to, or we've always... Scott has always been very, supportive by association with a lot of my shenanigans. And one of the things that y'all have possibly been seeing is this huge... It's the Sandman Slim thing people have been asking about. And basically, this is just proof positive. I've used that phrase twice now in this industry, where it's just sheer shenanigans. Where the author and I were Twitter friends. We tweeted each other. He wrote this book series, which I was a fan of. And then before it even occurred to me this would be a badass TV show, I was just a fan of it. Then it got optioned by the director of the John Wick movies, who I coincidentally met at this weird Sony promotion thing where I was a gun technical advisor for some contestants that won a contest from Australia to learn how to shoot guns at the range. that the director of John Wick and Keanu Reeves shot at to train for John Wick. I met them in the parking lot while we were waiting. They were waiting for us to clean up our guns to leave. So I met the director of John Wick, who happened to also be Keanu Reeves' stunt double in all the Matrix movies. And now, fast forward 10 years, that guy who was actually just a stunt double is now the director of the John Wick movies, is now directing the movie, or TV, I don't know if they're going to do the Netflix thing, of Sandman Slim. Yes.
So.
And so it's a very interesting community. It's a very heavy in the stunt community. So I'm trying to like do all the crap you do. You tag them passively. It's not like, I don't know what it'd be. I want to call it passive aggressive. It'd be like passive. You know I'm tagging you, and I'll act like I don't think you know I am, but you know I am, and we'll just pretend it didn't happen. But you'll look at it. You can
call it passive engagement.
Yes, I like that. I'm actually gonna write that down.
I think that's probably a good way to describe it.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, it's not blatant schmoozing because that's just dirtbag. But it's also, hey, again, I look at it through the money thing. Like, I want to help people make money, and I want the job. But his wife is the stunt double for like red-haired girl in the Avengers movies.
Oh,
her
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, it's her like go-to stunt double. Like she's
no
a huge.
I didn't know that was Kadri's wife.
No, not Kadri. The director of Wick.
Oh.
Yeah. So
that makes way more sense.
Yeah. So that's that. So really, actually, the short answer to your next question is literally nothing. No auditions, no shooting coming up. The life of our life.
Well, you did tell me about one thing, which I won't say what it is, but I think you forgot about it.
Oh no, that movie, yeah, that one is coming up. I forgot. Thank you.
Yeah.
A sequel, but it's been so long since the original movie, it may not suck.
And it might actually work.
Yeah, because enough time's gone by.
Might just sell.
That the gimmick of it will actually make it possibly tolerable. Anyway, so yeah. We'll see. But it also could be they need a big name.
That's true. Which, would be a bummer. But hey,
but
man.
I could maybe be the bad guy that dies in the opening scene.
Ooh, that would be cool. I'd take that part.
I know, exactly. I'd do horrible things for that. Side. Okay, you first. Anything else? You have an audition. You had some shit coming up.
Yeah. Let's see.
And you wrote like 10 scripts since I saw you last.
I didn't write like 10, but I wrote a few. I wrote a few movies, a couple of shorts, and one feature that I had to explain to Jeff, which he is intrigued by. He hasn't read it yet, but he's intrigued by. I have a problem when I write. It's usually that it comes out... My name's
Scott. I have a problem.
It usually is that I write a movie, and then you're like, oh, cool, well, how long is it? And I'm like, oh, like 130 pages.
And in scripts, typically that's a page per minute, so it makes it a 130-minute movie.
Yeah, which is not great. It's 2 hours. It's over 2 hours, and nobody wants to sit through that. There are great movies who can do that pacing, but for a first-time script...
It's very risky.
It's not, yeah.
And it's not 2 hours of just... mind-numbing explosions.
No, it's like high concept sci-fi craziness.
Yeah, a lot of talking for 2 hours is, it could hurt.
It could.
That'd be like watching Reservoir Dogs and having it be a 2.5 hour movie.
Oh yeah.
Very dialogue heavy movie.
Yeah.
Or Clerks or something.
Right. Yeah, and it's like there's plenty of action in it too, but it's still long. And I need to figure out how to make this short. But anyway, most of the movies I write in end up like that. And also, I start with like, oh, these are my 3 or 4 main characters, and then all of a sudden, oh, now I have, like 20 characters. So
Scott's got the gift of gab in a complimentary way, and the gift of ensemble.
I like big chaos. I think they're fun.
I like big chaos.
I like them. I think they're just a lot of fun to do and work with, and
Did you see? I wrote this down so I wouldn't forget. Did you see who had a heart attack yesterday?
No, who did?
Kevin Smith.
Oh, fuck.
There is a heart attack. It's called the Widowmaker because it's like it sounds. It should kill you.
Oh.
For those listening, I can't remember. It's the lower atrial something. LAD. I can't remember. Paramedic days. But he should be dead. Like he had 2 shows. I don't know why your ensemble thing made me think of Kevin Smith. Because he does ensemble stuff a lot. But he had like a speaking engagement because he does a lot of like evenings with Kevin Smith things. Mm-hmm. So it's not like stand up, but it's not like a Q&A. he had one show and was feeling off, and he canceled the second show and went to the hospital like way pre-symptomatic and preemptively, and they found it.
That's nuts.
Had he had it in the middle of that show, he would be dead.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But you know what? That just says one thing for him and for a larger community. You know, I'm not saying that stoners are pretty aware of their body, but the ones I know are.
The ones I know are.
When something's off, you know it.
Yeah. But yeah, it was weird because I just got the chills thinking about it again. Is I try to use Twitter just as a tool, and I happened to open it, and it was like trending, and I just saw Kevin Smith with the oxygen on his mouth, and I just assumed the worst. I was like, oh my God, Kevin Smith is dead. And for those of you who do or don't know, Kevin Smith did like Clerks, Mallrats fame. He did some wazoo stuff called Tusk.
Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, all the Jay and Silent Bob stuff.
He did Jersey Girl, even though that's not a great.
I love that movie.
Example. I'll say, yeah, it's good. Like I mean, people would argue, but whatever.
But he did a lot of that, and I always come back to the story is X amount of years ago, the dude has like 16 podcasts, and X amount of years ago, he said, hey, it's super easy, get a phone and hit record. And he did that. I mean, his biggest money making, career building, and most popular podcast. If you listen to episode 1, don't quote me on where they did it. If they actually did it in a theater, because they knew they were going to kind of be book seats for the audience, or if they did it at his house. But I mean, there was no like sound effects or no like transition music. There were no intros to each segment, and it's now I still listen to it today. I'm in the middle of his latest episode now, where Scott and I've gone to it twice, yeah, it's
super fun,
huge inspiration in actually a lot of ways, because the dude actually he preaches it in a very hippie way, but this was actually, I think he preached even in his pre-weed days. You know, it's simple. Don't be, I mean, a whole bunch of cliches. He even called him today. He made a comment today on this podcast. He's like, I know I sound like a cat poster. Yeah. You know, yeah. But he says stuff like that, and a lot of it's really true. And I mean, this guy's from New Jersey and just made stuff happen. He made Clerks with, I think it was like 60 or 16. There was a 6 in it. $1,000 borrowed, did it black and white because it was cheaper to develop the film. And sadly, Harvey Weinstein was in the audience when he screened it at Cannes, and everybody else left because they hated it. And Harvey Weinstein, sadly, gave him the money, made it, and his career was set off. So, did you see they went bankrupt?
Yeah, I did see
Weinstein's, that. Yeah, it's just awesome.
It's
nice to actually see consequence in this industry.
Exactly. I saw that news.
I guess we're into our current events.
Yeah, we
today's news
transition
for people. Yeah, horrible segue. For those who don't know, Harvey Weinstein's company, I think it's just called the Weinstein Company. Yeah, they declared bankruptcy. I don't know all the details of like why. Obviously, probably everybody they've ever done anything with ever pulled out.
Oh, you know.
And so
you know what happened is
you think the NRA is losing sponsorships? Dude, Weinstein is losing everybody.
Yeah. Like it's going down. Like this is 2018. It's that year. It's the year of.
Cleansing.
It's time to be accountable. It's time to be accountable.
Yeah. So Weinstein, they're pulling out. Everybody. Very interesting. So yeah, he for those of you who somehow don't know, tons of, I would say, female. It's all pretty much actresses, right?
I believe.
I'm not trying to be gender bad, but it's actors who are females, actresses. Some people get pissy about that, but basically female actor, also known as actresses, a litany of abuse covering the spectrum.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, even Uma Thurman's thing she's come out with various things, but even the way she's treated poorly doing a stunt on set that she wasn't supposed to do, like this huge accountability issue, and he pretty much kicked it. He didn't mean to, but he kicked it off.
Hey man, homie's got it coming. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry.
He's the spokesperson you don't want to be.
No, you don't want that shit. Hell no. I mean, that's what it is. It's all the different partners pulling out, and then all the lawsuits they are definitely having to settle, and the
settling
abuses
and
they're
or
going to have to
court.
Pay for. You know, like they're getting sued, and rightfully so. And I hope they take every damn cent. I take it all, man. Take it all.
Well, and going back to Kevin, I'm trying to write down. Help me remember when we titled this podcast. like our little bullet points. Weinstein, Kevin Smith is not dead. But it goes back to him. Is Kevin Smith had I brought this up in the past, but it's relevant now that the Weinstein's going under. Is he Kevin Smith in one of his other podcasts mentioned how his career is because of Weinstein.
Yeah.
I mean, he gave him Clerks, and then I'm sure there's a lot of things they don't say or you assume or some people are really explicit about, but sometimes you'll sign on. This is kind of a forgiveness factor, so if it ever happens to Scott or I, give us some slack. Sometimes you'll sign on to an awesome movie, but the only way you get that awesome movie is to promise blindly you'll do one or two more.
Ugh.
And you don't know what they'll be. So sometimes when you see your favorite actor and then all of a sudden they're in this POS movie afterwards,
it's not their fault.
that might be a picture package deal. So it's a name of the game, unfortunately. But I can't attest to this, but Kevin Smith got Clerks and then Mallrats. And then he and his producing partner Scott Mosier financed, I think, with Weinstein, Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
And then nobody actually know. You have to actually look in the credits or be a nerd to know that. But then there was some other stuff that a lot of people just didn't like Phantoms with Ben Affleck, stuff like that. But still, at the end of the day, I think Weinstein was synonymous with the Kevin Smith movie up until maybe a month ago, his entire career. And so Kevin Smith, being a seemingly decent dude, is just crushed knowing his career was because of this guy. So it's nice that this guy's paying the price, but damn.
No, that's the tough thing. That's the tough thing. That's like we were talking about yesterday. I'm not going to go into details with names on the stars, but we saw a star for an actor, and Jeff mentioned, oh man, I can't believe they haven't taken that off the Walk of Fame. And I remarked, because let's be honest,
go get me a pudding pop.
Oh shit,
that guy.
But I was like, if they took off the stars of every person that was responsible for some kind of hardship or abuse or like just awful
even
behavior,
just rumors.
Hollywood Boulevard would not have we wouldn't have nearly as many stars. And not that I'm saying that we should have them. I'm saying the town's not going to pay to pull up all these stars. They're just not.
And that's the one that's going to be an interesting topic. It's interesting to know, like the whole chicken and egg concept when it comes to these just blanket statement atrocities. What is the common denominator? Like Scott and I, on my mother's yet to be filled grave, are normal dudes. If we have skeletons in our closets, they're trivial. There are no more skeletons in the closet that you would have with your buddy in a small town. You're like, oh, I remember when Jeff did that at that one time in high school. Nothing like, oh, I Louis C.K'd all over a plant in front of an actress.
Jesus Christ.
Like nothing. And that's even, for lack of better, I hate this, but that's relatively tame compared to all the other accusations out there with a lot of other people.
I mean, I'm not even going to go into it right now, but it's just so, it's been really just depressing.
Yeah, I can't watch Parks and Rec now.
Jesus,
knowing
man.
What he did.
Well, it's been really depressing just to see all these different people. You're like, oh, I love this guy. Oh, not anymore.
He jerked off in a
can't.
Well, and that's the thing is, so it's an interesting psychological phenomenon. What came first? So is this person predispositioned, or did the business unlock some genetic code that would have never, are we all capable of this in the right circumstance? Because that could be said for
question. That's like
are we all capable?
That's like a philosophical thing right there.
Because
truly,
under the right circumstances, I would guarantee anybody can be a killer. I'm not even talking justified self-defense, homicide, or I'm just ending the life of another human. I would bet in the right circumstances, if all the stars lined up, a person would unquestionably be able to be a killer. So are the stars lining up, and are all those stars, Hollywood or fame or success or people doing whatever you want? Because that, if you think about it, the common denominators are massive success, massive money, sadly Hollywood. Even you can look at Michael Jackson. I mean, he's in the music industry, massive success, massive money, did some weird stuff. And is it just what happens? It's almost terrifying to go,
yeah,
okay, I want to be part of this business,
Yeah.
And Pauline and I were talking about Mel Gibson, when he went
Don't
on
get me started on Mel Gibson.
Up until his tirades, obviously he's a very angry, very seemingly racist guy. But up until that, you're just like, oh, I could see that guy probably being intense.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, Kevin Spacey probably is just an actor. Oh, No.
No,
He like,
unfortunately not.
So like everybody like that you thought like the day. Who would be a good example? Like if my soul were crushed, that would have like my man crush. If Hugh Jackman has some sort of conspiracy, I don't even care about like there's jokes about his sexual preference. I don't give a shit about that. That's not an atrocity. Yeah, that's not an atrocity that we're Scott and I are talking about. That would be his hidden little quote unquote secret.
You just don't abuse people, man.
It blows my mind. But now I'm not taking anybody's sides, nor am I condoning this or saying it's okay, etc., etc. But I think we talked about this before. I talked about it with Pauline, or I talked about it with you off their air or whatever. It's interesting where, like, I look at this like this is really cliche and chest puffy, but I look at this like almost sometimes I'll look at like a Green Beret, as in I will get abused and take this sacrifice and in this acute short window, knowing in the long run I will come back and win.
Yeah.
So if you think about it in Hollywood, like let's say hypothetically Uma Thurman goes, okay, I'll let this guy fuck around with me, and I don't even know how like the extent of what happened. I don't know if he just made inappropriate passes, touched her butt. I don't know. But let's say it was everything up at like let's just call it there were inappropriate gestures and dialogue.
Inappropriate behavior.
That's not because if it's like rape and stuff like that, that's obviously no debate. There's no question on that. But let's just say inappropriate behavior, sexual harassment. What if in the back of her head she's like, okay, I'll play your game to get what I want, and then it's like the long con. Like she's like, I will make this money and I'll do all this stuff, get what I want out of my career, my dreams, my life. I'm gonna crush you.
Dude, that's not even like...
I can't fault somebody for thinking that way because this industry is so...
They have made that as a motive and a thing in a lot of different movies where they're like parodying Hollywood because it's so real.
Yeah. You can't make... Some of the stuff isn't made up.
Exactly. It's not like... Honestly, and this is good because this goes back to earlier with like why it's really easy to get a project ruined.
Yeah.
And if you've ever seen the show Episodes with Matt LeBlanc of Friends fame, watch that show because that show is a perfect example. It's comedy, obviously, and it's parody, obviously. But what happens in that show as far as the development stages and how things happen and don't happen because of stupid bullshit reasons, that's exactly what the show shows you. It shows you actors getting trapped in shows they don't want to do. It shows you like the deals that get made across tables because of bullshit, petty, like
interesting. I like it.
Rivalries or feuds or just like old bullshit revenge shit. It's nuts, but it's accurate and it's funny. So yeah, watch Episodes if you want to see what Hollywood's actually like because it's a pretty good representation. Honestly,
what was I just found out. Now this is kind of off topic a little bit. Did you ever watch? Oh God, I just forgot his name. Not Larry Sanders.
Oh,
the guy that was
Larry
producing.
David.
Yes. Did you ever watch his show?
Which Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it shows. I love.
I found out, or I read somewhere, that it's like highly improv.
Oh yeah.
Like they'll have a general idea because they have to figure out the lighting and the location, and the general idea of where the scene will go.
Right.
But the rest of it's just they make it up.
Yeah, like they have story beats they want to do, and they just kind of like run with it. I think some episodes do have like fairly solid scripts, and then they just veer way off tangent every time.
You can see sometimes not that, and it's funny because it's fortunate that David's playing himself, so there's no character to break. But he'll do stuff where he'll smirk. I'll see the smirk. I'm like, that shit he just made that up just now.
But because it's him and it's because of the show, it's like.
But drive home.
It's perfect.
I don't know. I thought that show's funny because it'll have a couple of nuances or head nods to how screwed up the industry is, and I don't know. But yeah, that's that. So you had better notes than I had.
I didn't write that much.
Well, you at least
I just wrote like a structure thing, just a loose structure.
Oh, okay. Idea. This could be a new segment. So we'll do rant. We'll do modern, or what would we say? It was current events or whatever.
Yeah.
Now this will be one I want to talk about. Any new trailers or movies you've seen that you want to see?
Yes.
What?
All right. So last time we mentioned the Han Solo movie.
Oh. That's actually what I wanted to bring up.
And I don't know. I'm very on the fence about the movie as a thing in general, and I saw the trailer and I was like both excited about aspects and underwhelmed about aspects, but at the same time, I don't know, it could be cool. It could be cool. And then a friend of mine showed me this recut trailer, which might
the Beastie Boys?
Yep. And
I would watch that.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, it's the same trailer.
I knew what
it's
you were going to say. Yeah.
But
for those of you who don't know, go do solo Beastie Boys or solo Sabotage Beastie Boys. Somebody, and I think they actually recut the footage too.
Yeah, they recut the order of the footage, and they match the beats. It's
they
great.
need to get the rights to this because basically any movie, I don't know. I was not to paint a picture too vividly, but I was in the shower and I have a little shower speaker, and I just heard on Kevin Smith's podcast. I was listening to his podcast, and they played it. Yeah, and I remembered the trailer in my head since it was a podcast. I couldn't see it, but I remember the trailer and I was associating with Sabotage. And then it flashed me back to the first time I got Adobe Premiere. Mm-hmm. I pirated or borrowed it. This was like 96 or 7 in college. I had no idea what I was doing any more than I do now, really. But I was like, I can edit stuff. Yeah. But I had no source footage. I had no camera. So and this is before like a lot of the internet in my dorm was HTML. So it would say bracket video or bracket image. I'm like, I think this is the video I want. So porn was ridiculous. Because it'd be like bracket image and it would be a bar. Like, oh, that was the bar graphic, not the actual image I wanted. But anyway, so I'd look. It's taking forever to load. I just want to see porn. But like they had, I remember, and I'll show it after we're done. You need to see how embarrassing it is. I edited it was during the prequels when the prequels are coming out. And then South Park made fun of the prequels. Yep. They had a trailer making fun of it with Anakin and his pod racer and all that. That was the only footage I could find for some stupid reason. And I dropped the audio down from the South Park version and added this badass epic soundtrack to it. And I watched that thing so many times, so proud of myself, going, yes, the right music makes anything badass. And I added that and I was like, it's South Park. But any soundtrack can make a trailer. It can. And that Beastie Boys is awesome, but I don't think it'll help the movie. Yeah, I don't know. It might though. It might get more people to go. What are your thoughts? This is interesting because you're on the filmmaking side of it. What are your thoughts? I noticed this during. There was another movie that's kind of old, not of the genre, but they had kind of a modern hip hop beat to it. Like the trailer actually had like music that didn't match. Oh God, I'm gonna bastardize this. Oh. It wasn't solo, but it was. It's gonna piss me off now. A lot of movies are doing like it's intense and it's awesome music, but if you think about the show, it's advertising, and the movie, it's advertising. It'd be like using Star Wars. It'd be like actually if Star Wars used Beastie Boys. Right. Like I'm noticing that trend in trailers where they'll take something that subverting. Would not remotely associate that song or that genre of music to. Kind of subverting the musical expectation. Yeah. And you're like, I'm jacked, I'm stoked, but you're like, wait a minute. Beastie Boys in this universe literally metaphorically don't go together. Right. And I'm noticing that in a lot, and despite the fact I can't think of a single example, I'm noticing that in a lot of movies and trailers where they start forcing a genre of music that doesn't match the movie. But without an example, it's a moot point. There are some cases to be argued where that could be really cool because sometimes having music that doesn't feel like it should fit the scene underscores the scene in a very different, impactful way. So that's always cool. Especially with trailers. Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. I think trailers are like a little... I mean, I've made more because I can't edit or write dialogue. I've made more... The movies I have literally mine made, written, or whatever produced. Yeah. Were more or less music videos. Like I actually edited out the dialogue. I'm like, let's make a music video now. Like my first 2 films on my IMDb were mine, and I just basically were music videos. And that's how I pitched it to the people who I bought or I got the rights to the music for. I was like, oh, it's just a music video for your music, man. And I go, okay, cool. Here, sign this. It basically was that. But I was thinking of audio. I had to ask you about this. Okay. Did you realize in Force Awakens that they muted all audio when they did the hyperspace jump through through Snoke's battleship? Oh, in The Last Jedi? Yeah, Last Jedi. Yeah. That was awesome. It was perfect. 0 sound. It was perfect. And I can't believe nobody's done that before. Well, do you know what the annoying thing is frankly, you're going to get the sounds of explosions and all that cool shit in the entire any of the Star Wars movies. Like, always. But
the reality is you're really not going to
sound
hear
in
any of that
space.
in space, like at all.
I can't take credit for it, but Kevin Smith goes there. No one hears you screaming. What is it? The line from Aliens.
I think it's from Alien. It's like, yeah, it's
in space.
No one hears you scream. Right.
But yeah, that.
But just like you feeling the vibrations or feeling the sound of the vibrations inside the ship, maybe I could see that. But that was really cool that they did that.
Yeah.
Just the
Kevin Smith had his 90-minute review of
so cool.
The Last Jedi. He liked it more than I liked it, and which I didn't think he would. But
well, see, that's the thing. Like I said last time, the movie's got layers, and people will argue like, well, you shouldn't have to watch it a bunch of times to get it. I'm like, well, any good movie, you should, because any good movie will have those layers that every time you watch it, you're going to see something you didn't see before.
Yes.
So, go check, if you haven't seen The Last Jedi, watch it, check it out. I'm sure a lot of people will be disappointed by parts of the movie because as a diehard Star Wars fan, as a person who has seen all of them way too many times, I love Rian Johnson and I love Rian Johnson's movies, so I was ready to like The Last Jedi, and he did something different. And
Kevin Smith was mentioning, because he went like almost beat by beat, like the entire thing. He's basically he must have taken notes during the movie.
Yeah.
But he kept calling these moments. He's like, and here's so it's Force Awakens and then Last Jedi. He goes, okay, now here's the Force Awakens fuck you moment.
Right.
Like there were a couple moments that Force Awakens built up something that should have lasted for 3 or 4 more movies, and Rian Johnson's like, nope, dead. Like he just destroyed like a building point.
And people, there's a lot of people pissed about that. But like one in particular, one being the Snoke thing, and I'm not going to go into details on that. But here's my feeling on that is like, look, we can set up a million dark cloaked baddies that are somehow always there.
It was the same as what's her name, the girl.
Oh, Ray?
Ray?
Yeah.
Like, there was like, oh, who, mom, dad, brother, sister, and at the end, they're like, nah, fucking homeless people.
Yeah, but that's perfect. That's like,
people were like, no!
People are like all mad about it and everything, but really, Luke Skywalker is like a child of circumstance, but really, Anakin Skywalker was nothing. Anakin Skywalker was a slave child on a planet.
Yeah.
That's the reality. Luke Skywalker went to the same planet, and he was only special because of who his dad was. But he basically came from the same thing,
Smith
man.
made the same thing. He goes, if that one, okay, so it was R2-D2, who was the I can't believe I knew this when Smith said it, but I forgot already. The droid that blew up. When Anakin
one.
And his grandpa or uncle Owen were picking him up, had that one not short circuited, they never would have got R2, and nothing would ever happen.
There's a whole like expanded universe storyline about that particular.
Had that moment not happened.
Yeah, it's fun.
All right, well, for the sake of an hour, you have a rant?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I always have. Is that
where we should go?
Yeah, why not?
All right, well,
we got time. We got time. It's just a couple of minutes.
Yeah. Now in this segment, Scott and I we're 2 times in a row now. We're actually consistently meeting every other Monday. So step 1.
Step 1. Step 2. You might have noticed that this
format
for this podcast maybe sounds like it's probably more structured and organized, and I'm not shit-faced. So
we're setting a time limit.
Yeah, we're trying to make it a little bit more palatable for everyone, considering what the last one was like 2 fucking hours. Which, if I'm being perfectly honest, I don't remember the last half hour of. I had to go back and listen just to hear it, and then I realized, oh, that's right, I was hiccuping like a psychopath, and I couldn't get words out, and trying to convince everyone listening or watching that I was fine. The hiccups just made it sound worse.
I've never heard like cartoon level hiccuping. Like if somebody in a movie or a play chose that as an actor choice they're like, okay, now in this scene you're drunk, and the person started hiccuping, they're like, take it down like 30 notches. Nobody hiccups like that. Scott was hiccuping like that.
On certain special occasions when I get just the right amount of drunk, I get hiccupy. I don't know what it is. I'm not getting enough air, I guess. It's ridiculous.
I've never heard anything like it. Rant.
Suffice to say, we're good with
rant.
that. So my rant bitch time right now. Let's get this going. Use your fucking signals when you drive. Use your blinkers. That's what they're there so you can let people know you're coming into the next lane. Did you know that? Because if you didn't, that's what they're fucking for, and you should fucking use them. Because
you see the cop going online showing you how to use them?
My God. I can't. It's so fucking
Or
frustrating.
are you talking about when you're on a bike? Because a lot of times
I'm
that
talking on
kills
a bike, in a car. Use your goddamn blinkers, okay? Like I don't drive very often. Usually I bike places. Today,
Which
because
is even more terrifying if they don't signal.
oh my gosh, I'm always ready to like, okay, I'm gonna have to leap off my bike now. I'm gonna have to just tuck and roll and hope for the best.
I just picture you now, like prematurely going, they're gonna do it, and just bailing, and nothing changed on the planet, and they're just like, why'd that guy jump off his
That's
bike?
why
in the middle
9
of an
times out of
intersection?
10, if I'm on my bike, I got a hammer in my backpack. Because if you're gonna try to cut me off, I'm gonna come at you with a hammer. I can bike faster than you think. Okay. Point is, use your damn blinkers. When I drive, which is rarely, but I drove today, and driving today, I was reminded, oh yeah, people fucking suck at driving in Los Angeles. They don't know how the road works. They don't know how the law works. They don't know how their car works. They don't know how wide their car is.
Yeah. Well, wait, you know, the little woman that buys the biggest Escalade ever and has no concept of her mirrors or her...
No.
Yeah.
No, and then like more terrifying is I'm driving on the freeway, which rarely happens. Usually I'm in like, if I'm on the freeway, usually I'm in a lift or something, and I'm just like, I'm listening to music, minding my own business, whatever. But looking around while you're driving, it's really terrifying when you see, 50% of the people in your surrounding field of view in their car going 60, looking down at their phone. Yeah. Not actively
Some people
paying
don't even
attention
try.
to the road.
Some people don't even try. Like their heads are almost 90 degrees bent down. Like they're not even trying to glance with their eye.
It's insanity. And it's like, oh, well, you get good at it after time. You shouldn't be good at it.
No, you can't. Oh, no. Yeah, and I'm acutely aware, more empathetic for sure, now having been on a motorcycle, bike, pedestrian. People want you dead.
Yeah.
And I have the same way as a hammer. The boots most of the time I ride in are steel-toed.
Yeah.
And I'm ready. I have my planned out attack for when this happens, for when somebody cuts me off or just starts, I'm going to change lanes now. And people don't even do this. Like, they don't even turn their head anymore. They're just like, I'm pretty sure there's space, and they just switch lanes.
Yep.
And I'm ready for that moment where I'm going to make it dramatic. So, because I'm sure you're this with your hammer in your backpack. People learn, like if you went up to somebody and yelled at them and said, learn this lesson, they're going to automatically be defiant and not receptive of said lesson.
Or throw something at you.
Yeah, that too. Whereas if they realize out of fear and reaction, like, oh shit, I almost killed somebody, they'll remember that more because they'll be more receptive out of fear. So I'm going to actually set myself up for if somebody comes in and switches my lane and cuts me off on the motorcycle, I'm going to make a big dramatic thing, rev my engine, and actually kick their door as hard as humanly possible. We only got 9 more minutes. Is that okay? Okay. No, is it cool if we stay here for 9 more? So yeah, I'm ready actually to, when they start swerving lanes, I'm going to see it coming and actually be melodramatic, rev the Harley as loud as humanly possible, and kick in the door as hard as I can, and let them remember that dent. And really, what are they going to do? Say, oh, this guy, I almost hit him and I didn't. I mean, really, I'm set. Like when the other day, I mentioned this last podcast, a car was parked in our spots illegally. He wasn't even supposed to be in the building. And I towed him out into the middle of the parking garage with my tow straps. What's he going to do? Complain? Go, well, I was illegally parked here and this guy moved my car. Yep. He has no ground to stand on.
What's he going to do? He's not going to do shit.
I think LA is bad because it's such a smorgasbord melting pot of so many people that times a million is the amount of bad driving habits that are accumulated here.
Oh yeah, it's that plus most of the people are self-absorbed and that too. And self-important.
Yeah, there's that too.
Like they think they can just do whatever they want. They own this bitch. It's
well, my rant's not near as passionate. I hate. Rants don't have to be about hate, I guess.
It's not about it. It's just shit that what grinds your gears.
Oh God. What is it, Peter Griffith? What grinds my gears? This is probably the most hippie-ish thing that'll ever come out of my face. I really am annoyed because I was guilty of it. People that assume meditating is this hippie stuff. There's actually science behind it. Yep. And it's not a hate. That's very passionate. I hate the signal thing way more than this because I'm with you. For what it's worth, everybody, there's actually science there's actually lots of science proving that This is my rant. I don't know why it's a rant, because I have way better things to rant about, but it was on my mind right when Scott looked at me. So this is a really dispassionate rant right now. Meditation does not have to be, and I mentioned this in Pauline's podcast to listen to this tonight, so for those of you who are now listening and suffered through 56 minutes waiting for me to actually get to the meditation topic I said I'd get on at 7 a.m. this morning, here it is. Meditation for all y'all, it doesn't have to be brainwashing. It doesn't have to be you turning your brain off and dissociating yourself from the world, because that's never going to be the case. That requires like antipsychotics, or that requires some level of drugs, or some sweat hut on some Indian reservation sweating it out with some sort of DMT trip or something like that. Like, meditation is not that. People need to know, and I say that I'm preaching to myself basically, but for those of you who are now curious, because I posted this on my timelines and all that, meditation isn't this hippie thing. It is, the way I got sold on it, if you will, is somebody said, you're always trying to be a machine. This is actually a way to make your mind a more efficient machine. I was like, oh, now I'm sold. I thought I had to buy a robe and get up on a mountain and grow like a beard. And it's actually not that. A great metaphor by a dude that wrote a book that does this meditation stuff with like David Lynch and Hugh Jackman and all that. He had an awesome metaphor that I'll butcher yet can't take credit for. Basically, meditation, if done right, and this is pitching more towards transcendental meditation. Some people do some other extreme stuff. If done right, the world we live in is an ocean. Sometimes it's got waves and chaos and all that, and you're the boat on that ocean. But you go down so many feet in the ocean, it's calm. It doesn't mean those waves don't exist. It doesn't mean you've done some Jedi mind trick to get rid of the waves. It doesn't mean you're ignoring the waves and you can't pretend you're almost dying from the waves. You can't get rid of the waves in the ocean, the tidal waves, and all the choppy waters and the storms and all that. But 10 feet below, the water's calm. It's not like when there's a huge, crazy storm above and, fishing ships are getting flipped over and George Clooney and Mark Wahlberg are dying. What's that movie?
Perfect Storm.
Yeah, Perfect Storm. It's not like, the fish down below are getting beat to hell. They're chilling just the same as they were 20 minutes ago. So It's all the same. So meditation, for all y'all that are interested in or following it or trying to make your lives better, myself included, think of it that way. It doesn't have to get rid of the sounds. It doesn't require some candles. It doesn't require whatever. But I think, and I myself included, I thought you had to like quiet your thoughts the minute you're like, I need to buy cheese. You're like, oh, my meditation's ruined. No, that's like saying, oh, there's a white cap ocean wave over there. I'm just going to ignore it and chill and focus down here on the calm part of the ocean. So yeah, that's my rant on that. So people got on it or were curious about it or like dismissed it. And for what it's worth, anybody who does or does not know me, I am the last person, especially my friends from Colorado, because now they're like, oh, you moved to LA, now you meditate, you goddamn hippie. I'm the last person to endorse any wazoo, take these drops, put this, weed in your ear and expect results guy. I'm never going to be that guy. However, for those of you who are dismissive of it and hesitant because of the same way I am, give it a chance. I'm not getting your money out of this. The book is called Strength in Stillness by Bob Roth. It is like this dumbed down real world version of, hey, here's how to meditate. It doesn't have to be stupid. You don't have to buy. He makes a joke in there that I've always made before. He goes, you wear a suit, or you don't have to wear orange robes and shave your head and have white beards. And so for all you that are trying to strive to make yourself better in this world of chaos, it's an ironically social media world that makes us less social. I don't think our simplicity will ever be regained until the ultimate cleansing. Ever. Like, it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get more complicated. I don't think we're ever going to adapt to it. I think the thing that's going to be at cost will be heart disease, stress, anxiety, cortisol levels. We're never going to get better. So the only thing we can do, it's kind of like going into a fight and complaining about the guy being stronger. That's just a fact. Things are going to be this way forever, and now we got to find a way to work around it and deal with it. So I think in our social media world, you can do stuff like, even though mine's broken, you can go buy a flip phone. You can promise yourself you're not going to look at the internet so many hours a day. And I think, honestly, for those people that poo-poo meditation, I really sound like I'm getting a percentage on this. But for those of you that poo-poo it, give it a chance. Check out Transcendental Meditation, that Strength and Stillness book, whatever, those that asked about it on Pauline's podcast this morning. It's worth checking out. It's not going to hurt. But trust me, hey, for me, finding the time to meditate, I feel like, oh my God, that 20 minutes changed my day. How dare I? Now what am I going to do with my life? So that's my rant.
Hey man, it's all good. You're entitled to your rant.
Yeah.
Meditation.
Judgment free. Judgment free.
No. Meditation is good though. I agree with that. And plus, also, yoga's good. You should.
Yeah.
Do
well,
yoga.
that's the thing is, I'm trying to do it more, but I think a lot of, if you think about it, and that was the point I made in Pauline's podcast this morning, is meditation can be the thing that stills your mind and allows you to focus on one thing. Depending on the belief or the system or whatever you want to call it, some focus on a mantra, some focus on whatever, but the thing it shouldn't, like, I used Pauline as a perfect example. If you think about what she does at the gym, she's a cyborg at the gym. But it doesn't mean if she hears her phone ring, she's not hearing, she doesn't like block out thoughts, but she's focused on the gym. So she's in a meditative state, so to speak. You probably, I guess maybe when you're writing, that's probably a good example, is you're on writing, you're on characters.
Yeah.
You're not, like if a grocery list comes up, it's not like you can't write all of a sudden. No, you can get back to writing. Yeah. You can welcome the thought, deal with it, go, no, I'm here writing and do my thing. So we all have our states. A lot of yoga people,
yeah, definitely.
A lot of people find yoga for some reason to be the connective tissue, if you will, that helps them transcend, no pun intended, into meditation. Knock your socks off.
A lot of it is the breathing. Breathing is helpful, and it does. It's calming. It's got obviously euphoric purposes. Breathing. Yeah. They make a joke about it in Fight Club. That's my oxygen mask.
Great example.
Yep.
I like how Fight Club and meditation
damn right
go hand in hand.
But yeah, truly, like it's good for your focus. It's good for your centering yourself and calming yourself, and it puts you in touch with you. You know, so give it a go.
So that's our rant segment.
That's the rant segment. We're right down to the end of our hour, which is probably a little over because we didn't start this time. We're 12 minutes in, but
Well, it took us about 4 minutes to figure something out.
We did pretty good though. I mean, this is the first more or less structured one.
Attempt at structure. Well, I'll start saying this on all of them is, if you suffered through this, there still are people listening to a lot of the old podcasts, the ones Scott and I did when I post these and tease these. We'll now add this conclusion from here on out. If you have ideas, topics, things you'd like us to address as we design this, we're doing this for you, the listener. Scott and I, we may, watch game films, so to speak, and go back and listen to these, but we're not making these for us. We're making these because I started it calling it A Day in the Life Of, to give people a glimpse into whether it's Scott and I's life or if we have a guest, so to speak, their life. And it's sheer entertainment, sometimes motivation, humor, whatever. So it's for you. So the more you guys can help us create it, it's not a cop-out. But if you're like, hey, this would be a great segment because I followed you, I know Scott, I follow Scott, I follow you, whoever, which came first, chicken or egg, I'd kill to see you guys address this. Email it, and I know this is a really pompous email, but it's an easier inbox to deal with. Just fans@jeffbosley.com, and put a subject that makes sense to me, like, hey, podcast segment, or don't do something like, hey there, because that's a pain in my ass. So shoot emails to fans@jeffbosley.com, subject lines that are somewhat descriptive for the podcast. Help Scott and I design this. Show ideas. We're going to stick to an hour long once every other week. Coming up with templates. And obviously we're Hollywood movie nerds, but we're also passionate and about our various things.
Yeah, our talents, our skills, our passions. We got a lot of things we like. We'll talk to you all about them. Yeah. If you care. Honestly, I do it because I just enjoy it. Yeah. And it's fun to have a drink and shoot.
Exactly. And it forces Scott and I to relax at least once every week together. It allows me to drink. And it does. We can talk from everything from mitochondria to Batman 66 and everything in between.
Damn right.
Mitochondria is the ATP synthesis center of your cells, I believe. I pulled that out of my ass. I think
that's right. Wait.
If Pauline were here, she'd probably stab me with a knife if I'm wrong.
I'm not even gonna try. I'm not
gonna
try.
That note, it's been a long time. On the that's not even chemistry. What would that be? Anatomy, physiology. What topic would that be in school?
Mitochondria? Yeah. That would be anatomy, physiology, or bio.
Okay, biology.
Yeah, biology.
So on Bio 101 failure note, thank you for listening. Thank you, Scott, for making your pilgrimage back and forth 3 times here.
It's fine. It's all.
And thank you, not Korean New York soju.
Yes.
For those of you who are wondering, we'll maybe do this from here on out because I'd love to be sponsored like Joe Rogan is. Tonight's episode is unofficially brought to you by Yobo Soju.
Yobo Soju.
Say that 10 times fast.
Yobo Soju.
It is a small batch soju with distilled from grapes, and it's very good. It's very smooth. It tastes like grape water. It has 0 bite.
Yeah, it's really good.
Like dangerously zero bite.
Yeah, it's you could probably drink the bottle easily if you really wanted to.
Yeah, so I'm glad Scott and I are going for 1 hour.
And only because we're right at the end here, and I want to make sure we do even extra good. One thing we didn't finish talking about earlier was the script.
Oh.
And I'm gonna make it real short and sweet. The whole point that it's weird and that he's intrigued by is because it's my shortest one.
Yes.
I wrote a script under 90 pages, which is about a 90-minute movie, or under that rather, with not a lot of dialogue in it, which is very different for me. So
it's sitting in my inbox. I can't wait to be surprised.
Well, once he reads it, we'll talk a little bit about it.
That'll be my homework. I have 2 weeks homework. All right, so thank you everyone for listening. Again, fans@jeffbosley.com. Chime in, reviews. This is going to be, I'll post the links on iTunes, and if you're an Android user, you can go to Podbean, and I'm the only Jeff Bosley on both those platforms. Thanks for listening, guys.
Bye.